Hey, Scott Wilkinson here, the editor of AVSforum.com and host of the Home Theater Geeks podcast. I'm here with Bob Kisor, entertainment technology consultant, talking about HDR, high dynamic range. Really an important topic here at CE Week and all this year, really. It's certainly something that I have seen and am floored by, and so much more important to me than the number of pixels.
And I think that's a general consensus throughout the industry and with consumers. So when they get to experience it, I think that'll be the feature that they go for and select first.
Because with resolution, you have to sit pretty close to get benefit from it. But with high dynamic range, you can see that from across the room, no problem.
That's correct. So there's no limit to high dynamic range and wide color, wider color gamut that. To be able to see that, and everybody sees that, and even people with poor vision see that. So that's a benefit that has a much wider appeal than just pure resolution.
In fact, I've heard you say on more than one occasion that high dynamic range, if it were applied to 1080p, to standard high definition, as opposed to ultra high definition, would actually make a huge impact and be worth doing.
Yeah, so I actually like to call it Ultra HD because the file size is so much smaller than using UHD at the 3896, so that it's more available to the consumer. It's easier to stream over narrower network connections. It's you don't have to worry as much about network congestion. If you want to download the file's a whole lot smaller than it is for a traditional, what's traditionally been called UHD. So doing 1080p with high dynamic range and wide color, I think is the way to get the consumer to start adopting those features. And the UHD TVs that we have today have the high-end models of these have such good upconverters that an upconverted HD signal sitting next to a native UHD signal, it's very tough to discriminate which is which unless you neither know or you're really, really close to the screen and looking at it really critically.
But of course, the 1080p sets that are out there today in the marketplace, there are millions that are installed in people's homes, don't have high dynamic range capability. They'd still need to replace that TV probably with a UHD TV with the higher resolution in order to get the high dynamic range capability.
Absolutely. So this is not about not selling UHD TVs. So this is all predicated on the distribution of UHD TVs into the home, and then using that platform in order to get high dynamic range and wide color content into the consumer, because that's going to be the premium level content that platforms and content providers can get incremental revenue from in order to be able to produce more content. So that's the premium SKU for those people that are supplying content to the consumer, and it'll first come across as sell-through content or rental VOD content, and then as the technology gets developed and the delivery methods get developed, it'll come across as pay TV subscription, and maybe, who knows, maybe in 5 years we'll see broadcast.
Do you think the studios are going to get behind introducing their content at 1080p with high dynamic range and wide color?
So I don't know. And I don't know whether the studios will do it or whether the platform providers will do it out of necessity in order to support streaming content, because not a lot of people can stream UHD 4K content. They just don't have the bandwidth. Some people do. I mean, you can get really wide bandwidth connections. It's not that it's not available. It's just that there aren't a large percentage of the population that have decided to pay that and to get that type of connection.
Was it you that had the slide that showed the different bandwidth requirements for Ultra HD, standard dynamic range, Ultra HD, high dynamic range, and so on? It seemed like there was an awful lot of bandwidth required for Ultra HD, high dynamic range, wide color.
Yes, I did have that slide, and yes, there is. It's probably for the full boat of UHD, HDR, wide color. You probably need a connection of somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 megabits to support a continuous stream of probably about half that.
And not that many people have 75 or 100 megabits into their home.
No, it's available, but you're right. Not many people have it, and that precludes anybody else doing anything else on that connection.
Which is why having 1080p with high dynamic range and wide color would seem a natural solution to that problem.
Yes, and if you want the really high quality, Blu-ray has announced a format. You can buy the disc, and that'll be much better than any other version of the content that you can get.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to the future, and you're helping us understand what we might need to get there. Thanks so much.
Thank you.